In this video, we're going to talk about the ways that you get a negative entity attachment in the first place. We talk a lot about removing them and how to take care of them. But if you think about it, where do they come from? In what actions can you take or not take to avoid a negative entity attachment? So that's what this video is about. Let's get started. I've actually had a really hard time making this video. Normally I just set the camera down, I start talking, and it all comes out. And it comes out fairly well. I usually channel some information while I'm talking to you, and it comes out nice and clear and clean. Yeah, I have to make a few edits because I screw something up here and there, but this one I have had to retake, and then it started raining and storming, and so now I'm on a different day doing it, trying again. So I like to break things down into categories. There's really two categories to this. What 3D actions can you take to acquire a negative entity attachment? And what universal actions are taken to acquire a negative entity attachment or a astral parasite? So, from this perspective, the 3D. Probably the most common one that we see when people come to us for help removing negative entities, when we ask, how did it happen? They often say, well, it was because I was using a Ouija board and I felt it come in immediately. I found this to be surprising, and I kind of doubted it at first, actually, when I first began all of this. But I've come to realize that the Ouija board is probably the most common way that a person acquires a negative entity attachment. Okay, well, so are many of the other spiritual practices, using a pendulum, even meditating. Certainly when doing plant medicines, we see this. So what's going on here? Ultimately, you have to be predisposed to be connected to the spirit world. That is a given. You are not going to acquire a negative entity attachment if you are not predisposed to having a connection with the spirit world. So anybody who's watching this, you have that. You've already experienced that, and you're experiencing it now. So when you take a 3D action like a Ouija board or a pendulum or meditation or plant medicine, then what's happening is that you're opening yourself up to the spirit world. Ta-da! Now anything's going to come through that is a vibrational match to where you are. So in your case, if you were meditating for the very first time and you had a negative entity come through, most likely you have a low vibrational frequency. That's going to come from childhood traumas. That's going to come from depression and PTSD. That's going to come from even adulthood traumas and issues. So it doesn't surprise me that these were the reasons that they came through, but they're not really the reasons. And this is why I've had so much trouble recording this video, is I don't care about a Ouija board, I don't care about a pendulum, I don't care about any of that stuff, because it doesn't matter how it comes through. What matters is where you're at when your channel is open. Okay, so those are some of the ways that your channel really becomes open. All right, here's some other ones. If you are a practitioner, they're going to see a large number of people come through their practice, and they're going to be at various frequencies. Occasionally, these people also have negative entity attachments. So when the practitioner does their work, maybe they make the negative entity attachment leave, or it attaches it to themselves, and then they have to release them themselves. This gets very complicated because every individual is different. Some people really get bogged down by the fact that they have a negative entity while they're doing their practice. And so they're trying to create protection around themselves and do all this work to try to keep themselves safe. I'm not a big proponent of protection because protection to me is a fear-based act. So if you walk around like this all the time going, oh no, I hope this doesn't happen to me, oh please no, oh my gosh, well, you're more likely to have something happen to you because you're lowering your frequency. So instead, I walk around like this. Come on, if anybody's got a negative entity for me, I dare you to come get me because I know that I am more powerful than them. So I want you to think of it this way. I've worked with hundreds of people, either directly through practice and healing and working with them to remove their negative entity, or even through consultations. Some people with some really nasty entities that threaten to jump over to me. But it has never happened in all that time. I have never acquired a negative entity from someone I've worked with, nor has anyone that I've worked with had a negative entity jump from someone to someone else. It doesn't happen. Why? Because I know how powerful I am. I know that we as humans are more powerful than negative entities, even though we often believe that they are way more powerful than us. And they want us to think that because that's what makes us susceptible and makes them stronger. So they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that we believe that to be true. I'm also protected. My guides, the Hathors, are very powerful. They make sure that myself and all the people that I'm working with are as safe as possible. Well, here's the thing. You wonder then, well, why don't your guides just remove the negative entities from us and we don't have to worry about it anymore? Well, here's where we get into the universal perspective. The universal perspective is that you're going to get something out of your negative entity experience. So you are going to expand yourself. You are going to raise your vibrational frequency. You're going to step into your power. You might discover your spiritual gifts as a result of your negative entity, or you might enhance them. You might discover what your purpose is. And ultimately, you'll have a fantastic life after you overcome this entity. So from a universal perspective, this is actually a gift. This is a blessing that has been bestowed upon you. If you're one of the people that suffers very greatly from your negative entity attachment, I could see why right now you'd be saying, this is not a blessing, Xane. I need to switch and watch somebody else because he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I know what you're suffering from, and I have seen the worst of the worst. So I know exactly what you mean when you say, this is not a blessing. But even those people who had suffered the worst of the worst can now say, thank goodness I had that. Thank goodness I went through this whole process with you. And now I am well on my way to the rest of my life. This is super important and often overlooked. The other way that you can end up getting a negative entity from a 3D sense is if you live with someone who is very low frequency. Maybe they've got an entity, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Their energy is very negative. So maybe they're abusing you, or they're causing you to not believe in yourself, or any number of negative thoughts might be coming because you have this influence of this person. You are not necessarily acquiring their negative entities. You're just absorbing their energy, and you are taking to heart all that they're doing to you. The best advice I have for you for this is to look at this person in your life who is dragging you down, who is creating this negative energy field all around you, your house, and everything. And look at them as your greatest teacher. Not your greatest enemy, not your greatest adversary, not your hated foe, but your greatest teacher. When you do that, now you can discover more about yourself. You can grow, you can become powerful, you can withstand it and go through a process that will not allow the external world to influence you as much as it does, because you can rely on the internal. What matters is you. It's not about the entity, it's about you. What can we do to help you? What can you do to help yourself? Because I don't just remove entities from people. That doesn't work very well. They'll come back if you're supposed to experience them. So what do I do instead? I teach you what you need to do in order to step into your power, raise your vibrational frequency, and become the amazing person that you're here to be. That way, now you're going to be able to remove the entities yourself, and that's going to be a whole lot more effective than me just clearing them for you. All right. Well, with that said, I'm still going to go ahead and do a quick clearing. So as a reward for watching all the way through this video, you can receive this negative entity removal activation, which will at least temporarily remove this entity, and maybe it'll remove it for a long time. Hopefully it will. And then at the end, you can also download a halo chakra activation, and the link will be listed below in the description from my website. And you can download that to give yourself a little bit more protection. The halo chakra is the chakra above the crown, and it will help give you a little bit more time to do some of those things that I'm talking about, to work on yourself. And there's more things that you can do to help address your emotional state. You can also download some activations from my website that'll help you with overcoming fear and overcoming anger and frustration and any of the lower vibrational emotions that you might be experiencing, because staying in those emotions actually makes you a vibrational match for a negative entity. All right, all that said, let's go ahead and do the removal activation. Close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath. And relax as you exhale. Even if you don't normally relax very well, I really want you to focus on it. Relax those shoulders. Relax your jaw. Relax your neck. Relax your feet. And this activation is quick and easy. I'm going to say breath in. When I do, you're going to take a nice big deep breath. You're going to hold it at the top. And you're going to wait for me to say a loud explosive word. And then you can exhale. So removing your negative entity attachments. Breath in. Awake! Excellent. That's all there is to it. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for participating in that activation. Like I said, find that link below and so you can jump on my website and download the Halo Chakra activation. And I hope this helps you. And one of the things that I definitely want to make clear is that I do not want you to be afraid of the things that you can do in this world that might attract a negative entity attachment. I don't want you to come away with this going, oh my gosh, I can't meditate and I can't use a pendulum and I can't use a Ouija board. Well, you might not want to use a Ouija board anyway, but all those other ones you should not be afraid of because fear is what causes you to have a negative entity attachment in the first place. Another thing to note is with plant medicine, if you decide to do something like ayahuasca, make sure that you choose a shaman who is very adept at keeping everybody's vibration high during the ceremony. That's why there's all these rituals and there's requirements of what kind of food that you can eat or shouldn't eat before the actual event itself. It's very important because when your vibration is high, of course, the thing that's going to come through is the spirit of ayahuasca or your spirit guides or your higher self, very high vibrational beings. If you don't have that work, if you don't work with someone like that, then a lower vibrational entity could come through. And we definitely see that happen. So thank you once again for watching this video. Please comment and let me know what you think. I haven't done a video like this before, obviously, as you could tell as I was talking about it earlier. Give me your thoughts. Let me know if there's another way that I didn't talk about, and I'll be happy to talk about it in a future video. If you have any thoughts about what other videos I could create, I'd love to hear your ideas. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.